welcome to the stock review. I went over Nasdaq in the previous video, but if you're not interested in Forex, let me quickly brief you as to what I talked about. Okay, so two Nasdaq charts that I work off of. This one is drawn up with the Elliott waves and kind of the long-term prediction, and this is kind of my gap chart, right, where I drew up all my lines previously. So as you can see, this is where I'm predicting that it's going to close this gap and then drop down. And the reason why I kind of picked this area, because I'll just show you on this, right? So it's actually the perfect fib retracement that it comes down on in that specific area. And it actually ends up being around this gap that needs to be closed, right? So there's lots of things that line up with that being the peak, and for it to not climb any further, right? If I throw this up on the daily, you'll see the different EMAs. My computer's a little slow tonight, so I apologize for that, but let's take a look to see what this is like, right? So you can see that once it actually hits that area, it's going to be just touching that white EMA, crossing through it, testing it, and then dropping down. And that's what I'm expecting to happen in the short term, and in the long term, I can expect it to hit that 10,000 mark. So if we're talking the IXIC, right, the actual indices that's live when stocks are being traded, that's going to be around like 9,400, I believe it'll drop down to, because this one is, oh no, not 9,400, about 9,700, because it's about 550 or 600 points lower than this. So anyway, that's what I predict to happen with the Nasdaq charts. Okay, because of that really brings a lot of stocks into play that rely on Nasdaq. Okay, and the big ones are going to be your blue chips, right? So we're talking Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, all the big guys, right? Like they're the big players that basically run the show for Nasdaq, the ones that have the most retail traders and hedge funds invested in those companies. Okay, and if you've seen any videos previous, they kind of run parallel with each other. So as Nasdaq moves, the rest of those stocks have the same patterns. Okay, so if you can see right here, where there's another maybe 250 to 300 points for Nasdaq to climb before it really starts dropping off, that kind of gives a lot of the big stocks a potential maybe 3 to 4% gains to get on top of where they're currently priced at now before they hit the floor. Okay, so let's just go into Apple, and I'll give you an example here. Okay, so as you can see, it was a very similar pattern. It has gone a little higher than the Nasdaq itself. So I actually predict that it'll hit that 170 mark and then start dropping off. That seems viable. And a lot of these stocks will follow, right? So if Amazon is at 140 right now, I'm expecting anywhere between 143 to 145 to be its peak with this run before it starts dropping. Carnival, I think it'll drop, but not as hard as everything else. It might get back to the low $8 range, maybe high 7. It hasn't been that low, not even since COVID, right? The only reason I give Carnival a bit more credit, and I mean I'm biased towards that because I have shares with Carnival. The reason why I'm biased with that is because they're on the road to recovery, and there's a lot of cruises booked in the next few years, right? Like there's ships that are being sold out right now years in advance. So I project that their next earnings report that's going to come out once it loads. Sorry for the slowdown, folks. It's a little painful to watch that. But so yeah, June 24th was the previous one, and that's not exactly where cruising peaked. So this one right here, September 29th, that's going to be a very important day where financials are kind of given. right? So what I'm expecting right now, Carnival, it might hit the $11 mark again before reversing, but it is also possible that this climbs steadily while other stocks drop. So for example, if the Nasdaq opens lower one day, right, and there's a gap down, it's very possible that there's going to be some stocks that, on that gap down they open at even, and as Nasdaq climbs a little bit, these ones will make gains for the day, right? It's happened quite often. That's why you see a whole bunch of red and there's still some green all within that. Okay. But that's kind of my basis for Carnival Cruise Lines. The big ones, like I said, that's kind of the target. Expect for it to go up maybe 3 to 5% before the big drop comes. And if it doesn't come, great. But if it does, I mean, at least have your profits taken before they're all disappearing on you. I mean, we all like to just throw it in there and hold for a long-term investment strategy. The trouble is, though, when you do that, you're not going to see gains for years, right? But when you play it smart and you sell at peaks and you buy at lows, you're much more likely to actually make higher percentages throughout your trading seasons. Okay, so my actual win for the weeks, for the last 2 weeks actually, week and a half. Yeah, okay, let's say 2 weeks, whenever Roku had their earnings. Okay, so I just want to go over these with you guys quickly. Super messy charts, especially when they're so slow. Holy. Okay, I'll just zoom in on that. This drop at earnings was just too good to pass up. Roku is not worth that little, right? As you can see, it dropped down to 61.99 cents, so 62 bucks. When I saw that happen, I snagged up a bunch of shares because, it also showed me rejected right just above that line. So I grabbed a few shares. So as you can see where it hit now, I believe I grabbed it at the end of last week. It has increased from my purchase of 62.07 cents. So let's just go right there. And I sold it earlier today. So I had approximately 31% gain within a week. Pretty good win, right? And then Progeny, I always had my eye on these guys. And when I saw that earnings report is going to be coming out, I'm like, you know what? I'm pretty optimistic with this. We'll see where it goes. So yesterday I snagged it around 30 and 50 cents, right? So kind of midday, and it dropped further off. Yeah, somewhere around there, right? I mean, near the end of the day, it still dropped another 2.5%, 3%, whatever. But when it opened today, I saw after hours it made, I think it was up 19%. But at the close today, I ended up snagging, where was it? I also closed this off kind of closer to midday as well. So overall, I was able to snag about 37, 36% off. Oh no, it was a little lower. I sold it around here. Yeah, so 34% in one day. So those are my 2 big wins for the week. It made quite a nice impact on the portfolio. It increased it by 15% within one trading week. I mean, that's pretty solid when I just did 2 trades, right? And then I'm holding a couple ones long. So I'm definitely happy with that. This has been the big disappointment, though, Tesla. As everything is kind of going sideways or climbing, Tesla's dropping pretty hard. And even though 6% may not seem like a lot, for them to have that kind of value, it's over $60 that it drops, right? However, what I want you guys to pay attention to is this right here, right? So it didn't really come up to the black line. That's kind of what I'm expecting for the next few days, for it to kind of quickly make a run up there and then drop. But as you can see, the stock split is also coming. Okay. Oh, geez, I don't want that. All right. The stock split is coming. It is going to be valued at, holy slow computer, geez. Okay, 3 to 1. So what that means is if, let's say, Tesla hits that $1,000 a share mark, once it splits, it'll be around $333. Okay? And what that means is it's going to attract a lot more retail investors that can't afford, let's say, buying 10 shares at 1,000. They might be able to afford buying, 10 shares at 300, right? So once the split happens, that's also going to incline the stock itself to move slightly higher, and we're aimed to do that August 25th, right? So it's still a ways away. But I expect overall that we're going to be dropping sooner than that throughout the entirety of Nasdaq. Okay. Prior to this, I was expecting to hit, maybe 1,100 once again, maybe that 10,050 mark. I think maybe the 980, maybe even 967 is more reasonable, just off of that aqua line. Only because it's been pretty volatile over the last week itself, right? It had very strong days and then a down day, and then it crushed 2 more days afterwards. It even gapped up, and then it just tanked. Like, it lost almost all its gains in the week, right? And back to where it was last Friday. So, yeah, I mean, as far as Tesla goes, I am going to be picking it up once it hits lower regions. So, as an example, I always do a talk Fibonacci. Right, it's my favorite thing to utilize. Look at this. From high to low, all right, all the way there, we are currently in the golden zone, right here. Okay, so I'll just draw a square because my mouse is moving a little slow. All right, that is part of the golden zone that what I'm looking at, right? Overall, the golden zone itself is this range right here for it to reverse. It definitely has the potential for it to climb a little bit higher, but I can't see breaking above that line, right? Especially when you see a lot of the supply has been built up right here along that, and it's, yeah, I just can't see it getting higher than that. Right, so I mean, if you had puts and you made a killing on Friday, that's fantastic. I do expect it to climb a little bit more. It could be potentially that all the losses get erased on Monday and Tuesday. Sentiment is still good. I mean, a lot of today's fears were because there was very positive consumer data, so there was, quote unquote fears in the market because they might expect Feds to raise rates again. Sure, I mean, it's all speculative, right? And they play based off of fear, even though that there's good reports, there's always ways to manipulate it somehow, right? So the guys that write the news are the ones that control how the market runs. And just look who owns those news companies, like Benzinga, I mean, Alpha something. Oh God, Market Watch, I can't remember all of them, right? But the guys that own those, just take a look at who owns those companies. Right, and it'll give you a good insight as to where everything's going to be moving. So when they want to drop fear into the market, they want to bring the prices down so they can buy at a cheaper rate. Okay. Anyways, so that's kind of it. That's what I want to keep an eye on for this week. Just for fun, let's do AMC because it had an almost 20% run, and I've done this several times. I just want people to be careful. I showed this entire run since last year. 2 years ago? Yeah, last year, early 2021. Okay? So first of all, the fib channel, as you can see, it really respects those lines. Okay? Second off, let's just do normal fib retracements. Okay? So here's the high to the first low that we have that's right above the purple. We'll just stretch it out. Okay, just right there. So as you can see, this peak just in the golden zone, just above the 50%, rejecting off that red line on the channel. Okay, so let's draw another fib where we made the new high, the lower high, to the next lowest point in the shorter time frame, which was around there, right back down to that red line, the other red line, right? Stretch it across. Look at that. 618 just touched the tip and started dropping. Okay, so right here, new high to the new low. It took a lot longer to hit this time. The new low was right here. So where's the 618 going to be? Oh, look, that red line once again. You saw it rejected off there twice, and now it was testing it from this end. Right? Exactly where the peak was the bottom of the previous runs. Right? Not only that, 618 retracement, and then it dropped again. So what are we going to do? Here's the new peak. Here's the new low. Stretch it across. Look where we're at right now. Okay, so we're right at the tip of the golden zone. At best, I expect this to rise up to maybe $25 a share before it starts to tank. So if there's anybody that likes to play AMC that listens to this review, be cautious, please. You know, don't stay in because you want to hold to the moon like an ape, whatever all the nonsense is in Wall Street bets. Okay, really understand that this worked out already 3 for 3 in the past, and this is the 4th time now that it's the perfect retracement. Okay, and look, the purple line is right there. Where was the low before that? Right here. You saw it rejected off the purple several times, and then it broke through. Here it tested the purple. I mean, lots of things are showing that that's going to be the zone. Okay, so it's possible to take it maybe up to $25, but at this point in time, once it gets above 25, move up the stop loss so that it triggers at 24, let's say, right? And then it's going to be making new lows. How low? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it'll hit the $10 mark, maybe the $9 mark. I don't know. But all I know is it's in that reversal zone right now. Okay, so keep an eye on that. Safe trading and be profitable, guys. Take care and see you next week.